Hey everyone, I'm David.
I'm George.
And I'm Ori.
And this is Tabletop Animators, a show where we watch and react to board game Kickstarter videos and discuss the ins and outs of what we love about them, what might have been done better, how successful they were in getting us to check out the campaign page, and even dive into the process of how they were made.
And we have another great 3 videos for us to watch today.
So let's, without further ado, let's jump into the first one.
Sure.
This is my pick.
So your pick is Sheep in Disguise.
Sheep in Disguise, yeah. We're just going to watch the intro because that's the part that actually interests me.
Cool. Who is this by?
Let's just move to here.
Publisher?
Well, we figured that out. It's by the same guy that did the actual art for the game.
Okay.
So he created the assets, and I think a few people, animators, helped him with it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it was an interesting collaboration. I would love to know more behind the scenes, but yeah, he's a pretty interesting animator. I love his style.
Okay.
And here you see
Daniel Cuervo Arevalo, and Juliana Rueda Arenas, and William Cifuentes. That's a good thing I read it. I can do it.
I was going to say,
yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that. I would have butchered it.
They all sound Spanish, so yeah.
When we get to the Greek team, I can show my skills.
Yeah, you can show off your accent.
Okay, so let's first watch the intro of the video, and then we will discuss it.
Awesome. So
Okay.
Not safe for work.
Of course.
That was awesome.
Hi, and welcome to a quick look at how to.
I've
Amazing.
already backed it, guys.
Oh, nice. There you go. Awesome.
So
Awesome.
wow, that's like
I mean, that's all hand drawn.
yeah, that's phenomenal animation. It's completely wild, full of personality.
Sucks you right in.
Happy Pride to everyone, just because of the
Yay!
frame.
Perfect.
You know, there's certain things you watch on TV, like Rick and Morty or whatever. And then what I love about all of those, they have a different sort of way of doing faces or mouths. And there's something about all the mouths here that just have a style. And it just drew me right. Like, I don't know, the chewing and the smiling and the wizard and stuff. Like, oh man. And just,
Yeah.
there are times where I'm like, what is going on here? It's so exciting. I just want to watch this show, like as a show.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. I love the eyes too. The eyes too are very full of personality.
Yeah, it's got a dinosaur for me, so that's all.
From what I understood, they were looking for a theme for their game. They had like a basic idea for the game, but they didn't know what the theme should be. And they found this animator, this guy that he does like comics, and he started just doodling stuff for them. And eventually they came upon this doodle of a sheep, and they're like, that's what we're going to base our game around.
That's awesome.
So I have to say, I've backed a lot of Kickstarter campaigns because of mechanics and gameplay, and obviously theme is a big thing for me. But there are sometimes I will back something completely because of the artwork or how cute it is, or like that this would be that game. I don't even care if it's a good game for some reason. You know, like I should probably care. And that's probably how I ended up with 860 games. But I would totally back this because it's so, I don't know, it's so well done.
Yeah, I mean, it did great. 91,000.
And it
Yeah,
seems to be
and it's doing
good.
really well. My question is, we talked about last time where we have the flavor part of the video and the gameplay part of the video. Here, they're like completely separate. There isn't even a nice transition between the two. And here
it's all animated still too, so that's cool.
Yeah, obviously it's the animation is a little simpler, but
Sure.
there they completely go into the rules and how it plays. just by seeing the intro, what do you think this game is about? What's your goal? What's going on?
Yeah,
Or
I
you have
mean,
no idea.
No idea.
to be fair, it doesn't give you any idea for that. But like, I think it was a really strong intro, especially if the statistics are right. Like people would
Mhm.
probably stop it about about the length that we watched, and that probably would have been enough to decide whether they're into it or not. Perhaps it's great that they have all of this extra information and video later to figure out what kind of card game it is. My mind goes straight to like exploding kittens style game,
Yeah,
or
definitely.
all those like unicorn. It could be a lot more special. It could be a lot different. So I'm maybe not giving it the credit that it deserves. But that's where my mind goes when I see those kind of. What was the other one?
I
Unstable
think that
unicorns.
I think that's intentional. They're
Yeah.
looking for the same audience, the same people that would like those casual games that are definitely friendlier to non-gamers. If you have just a few people over and you want to show them this game, you start by showing these crazy sheep, and they're like, okay, what is this? And I guess you can teach the rules in how long is that? In like a minute and a half, and then just get right into it.
Yeah, I mean, again, when it comes down to it, do we want to scroll? Obviously, George did backing it.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen this one. I'm definitely going to check out the page more because it looks super fun. And yeah, and I'm glad they gave credit to the
animators, yeah. And the artists and the animators. You see, it's
and they're the creators. There's the team.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome.
I guess my only critique is I would have loved to understand the story a little more from the intro. It was just it was crazy, and it was
chaotic. Yeah.
It was an awesome cartoon.
Yeah, I was glued to it because of the the quality of the animation and this wild journey and all the characters. But like you said, I couldn't really understand what was going on. And after I read about it, then I realized it's the sheep that are trying to disguise themselves, and the wizard is changing their disguise all the time, and that's why the monsters are confused and they fight each other instead. Did you manage to get all that?
I thought the wizard owned the sheep, and then he somehow created time travel, and the T-Rex showed up, or the dinosaur shows up, and something.
It's part of the fun. Okay, it's not a detriment.
I was just too caught up in the
visuals,
and how well it was executed. Because you don't see the actual frame by frame animation.
But like why it works, it reminded me of like an intro to a show. Like anytime as a kid you watched Thundercats or any kind of show, there was like that intro that showed tidbits from all the different episodes, or just things that the characters would get themselves into, with just music, right? So I think that was just a slice, and you're like, I can't wait to see more. And that was why it worked.
I mean, and also it's short because that was probably expensive. to get drawn frame by frame information. That's expensive, and it did its job.
So when we say 2D might be cheaper, we don't mean this type of 2D.
Of course,
that's very expensive.
This is
We're
beyond
talking about
me.
Even here. I mean, I'm full 3D. Yeah, this is beyond.
Great work.
We generally take the 2D stuff and do parallax and kind of adjust things a little bit here and there, so things have the feeling of motion, but they're not really animated like this.
Yeah.
So well done.
Tabletop Animators. I'm just kidding.
Hey, we do the 3D stuff completely.
I'm joking.
Scroll down for me.
Great pick, Ori. Yeah, I would scroll down clearly.
Same here. I would scroll.
Okay.
Cool. So when I get to George's pick.
Yeah. So I had to pick Fall of the Mountain King, because not only am I a fan of the original game, the original video, but also because John Meatling's work has been so influential in general. Like I watched the original game's video, and I'll talk about it a bit more once we watch it. But yeah, I wanted to bring this up because it's very similar in style as his first one, and John just does great work overall. Let's watch it, and then we'll talk about it after.
What do you see there down there? Misa Lab, Game Lab? Is that?
I don't know who they are. They're hacks.
Yeah, David did all the animated GIFs for this, actually.
But John does great work, and he even did the Fossilis video too, which was awesome. So
Nice.
definitely.
I also want to mention,
Thank him.
like, thank you for John, because I saw his endangered video, which was also phenomenal. And he inspired me to get into Blender, into 3D. I asked him, like,
awesome.
after I saw him, I sent him a message. I said, "What did you make this on?" And he said Blender, and then I downloaded Blender, and the rest is history. So
Nice.
thank you, John,
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, I owe John a lot too, and he might not even know.
Look at that. Well, all three of us owe him for something, and he doesn't even know. Maybe. Well, that's great.
So-
And it's great. Again, it's great to be able to give credit to the people creating.
John, contact us. Guest on the show.
Yeah,
That'd
we
be
would
great.
love to have you on the show.
It would be great to have other creators on as well. Yeah.
That
So let's
could be
get into the
really
video.
cool. Yeah.
In the Hall of the Mountain King told the tale of how we trolls returned to our ancient mountain home after generations of exile, driven out into the wilderness by our hated gnome rivals. Now it is time to share the legend of that doomed war that rang through the caverns, shattered the 7 clans, and forged the heroes among us who would save our
That's great.
people from
Nice.
destruction. The gnome invasion has begun. A never-ending flood of them surges against the mountain gates. You must piece together your ancestry to find the strengths you'll need to put up a glorious defense.
The fire flickering.
Who's going to comment on
You
that
will
too?
get great honor for proving your worth against each other and for crushing enemy strongholds. Shields to bolster your forces throughout the mountain. Influence to win support from legendary troll champions with extraordinary powers. And cursed gnomes to turn your knowledge of the enemy against them. Weak actions driven by desperation allow you to carve out small successes. But strong actions, created by chaining together pieces of your ancestry, will unleash your true might. Spent pieces of your ancestry can be chained across, changing your capabilities as the battle rages on. You must balance patience with urgency to unlock your ancestry's potential. The war advances quickly. Through 3 harrowing waves, you'll endure the onslaught of the gnomes as your forces attempt to win support from the clans, throw themselves into the path of the avalanche of enemies, and protect the sacred Great Halls as the war grows ever more hopeless. The fall of the Mountain King is inevitable, but the ferocious example you set for all of trolldom in the face of calamity will sustain our hope that we will someday gloriously return home.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you touched on the flickering that I was going to mention. But I think the one thing I've shamelessly copied from his videos is that animated 2D environment or scene, and then you end up in the cover. I've never done it as well as John has. But yeah, I always saw that, or in the first video he had animated cards as well. So just to, the idea of including a texture as a video to put in the 3D, component, I was like, that's such a cool idea. I've actually used that original video to show clients with hey, this is some of the things we could try to do. And anyway, I really, really like that.
So that
Also-
intro is a good way to talk about what we were talking about between the different
Yeah, I was going to mention that too.
actual frame by frame 2D animation, and then kind of this hybrid of taking illustrations and animating them, which is this shows off perfectly.
Yeah.
Animating them in layers and the parallax, the foreground, background, midground, all moving separately to give that illusion of being in a 3D space.
Yeah. And this was a good, it had a lot of depth before you get to the cover and the review.
Yeah, that pull out.
Pull out through the armpit, and then so basically what you said, it's a plane with a video on it, which he animated on After Effects.
Yeah.
And it matches the box cover exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you just continue to, maybe you're very close to the box at first, right, to get full screen, and wait for the right moment to pull back. And then the animation, of course, keeps going. I've had many issues where I've tried to fake it or fade in and out and things like that.
Stop there, David. There was something there I want to talk about.
Sure, where? Back?
There, the little puffs.
Oh, the effects?
there.
Yeah,
Those are cool.
That's a sweet little effect.
I was wondering about, and you guys, mentioned these might be all post. Some of them feel like they were done in Blender, perhaps somehow, or brought in as a video file, maybe. Maybe John can help us answer that question. But I thought they were really good. All these post effects,
Okay.
especially when they are chaining together.
Yeah.
Like obviously these can be done in After Effects, but
I think these are 100% done in After Effects,
Yeah, they are.
just because they're so flat.
Yeah.
There are two effects which I think were done actually in Blender. One I think might be the smoke there that I
Yeah.
mentioned before, and the other one is those beams of light we see later.
yeah, the beams of light were really cool too.
By the way, have you guys done time-lapse playing where you see the game moving really
Yeah.
fast? Here, there we go.
There we go.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's we do this a lot in After Effects too, so it could.
Where you kind of carve out, move the.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can totally do it in After Effects, but yeah, this feels like it could have easily been in After Effects. In Blender.
In Blender, you could just create like maybe a cylinder and have like a texture that moves with a cloud texture. This is all gibberish to anyone who's not an animator.
Yeah.
But
Well, in general, I mean, what I liked about this, even though it's been some time since the first game, it feels like it's a continuation. The look, the style,
Absolutely,
the feeling is very similar to the
Mhm.
first video. So anyone who really liked and enjoyed the first campaign will feel right at home. The first game is excellent. Like I've played it, I really
All the
enjoyed
Mountain
it.
King is great.
So this one,
I
even
backed this already. I think I was the 23rd.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was going to say. Like this is a good example of a publisher who we've talked many times about. Oh, they're established. The game's established. I've read a lot about stuff. They don't really need to do anything too crazy or too big. But this, at least, they wanted to match what they had already done, and I'm glad that they did because, even though the first game was successful, this was a good way to show. And this feels like a completely different game, by the way, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
And going to that time-lapse effect that you mentioned, I like that because it kind of gave me, after a while, I was kind of, and I want to say lost in it, but it was good to start like it's ramping up towards the end.
Yeah.
It kind of got me to feel a little bit more excited. Perhaps the music, could maybe like help with that a bit too. And John, I love your work, so I'm going to criticize this part. Like during this part, I felt like I could see a lot of like pieces going through each other. That was my only critique.
I
was
didn't
like,
notice that.
They are flying into, but I am the only one that's going to notice this.
Sure, that's the same thing, and I think I mentioned it last week. Like how much do we pay attention to the animation? Because just this little token here. Because again, we're gonna get nitpicky here.
Yeah,
this little token here just kind of skitters off. It doesn't feel like it has weight. Like I would have just loved to see it settle for one frame or two, and then come off, right?
Yeah,
but totally. Things like that is like one extra polish pass at the end. And again, we know our schedules are crazy, probably, and it's always we're always coming up to the end.
And also, I wonder if it's preference too, right? Like maybe this feels more smoother, and stuff like that. But yeah, for me, I agreed with you. I agree with you when I see that. I like the sort of the pause. Like I want to pretend there's a finger there going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then also when you're doing this at the end, trying to ramp it up, it is a time crunch because you're I got to get this in 3 seconds and show all these pieces. So that could have been part of it. And actually, something I just noticed that I love is that he textures the sides of the tokens.
Oh, the tokens? Yeah. I just covered that in a tutorial I did.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I actually have taken pictures of real board game tokens. That's my favorite thing about all my cardboard tokens. They're not for people who don't know how it works, but they're not like seamless textures. So you can just what do you call those? Procedural textures. I actually have photos, and it's a little bit more of a pain to go in there and UV map. Like my new team members are like, why are we doing it this way? But I'm like, it's because they look more realistic. I like that little piece of cardboard that when you break it through the, it has that little piece.
Sticks out. Yeah.
It sticks out. That's what I love. And I do the same thing. I absolutely love that.
That's great.
So it's funny because I just went the other way around. I started the same way as you. I found a picture. I took a picture of the side of the token and I put it on. And I did a game recently, Koi Garden, which had tons of weird shapes of tokens, butterflies, and everything like that. And it was really hard to get it around. So I ended up creating a procedural one, which I'm pretty proud of because it does have those breaks.
And you should be. It looks great. I've seen it.
I got some of my game on the side of our pieces.
Yeah, so overall, for me, this video worked, and I wanted to share that and share the love for John. He's been doing it longer than I have, and been very inspired by his work. And also, this game I'm really excited about.
Awesome. So obviously we'd all scroll, I think, and I did. I backed it.
Oh yeah, I scrolled to see the GIFs especially. So.
Oh, that's right. Let's see them. There we go.
Yeah, nice.
And I tend to do this, just a little aside. I always, even if we do the video, when it comes to the GIFs, I'll always put them on a white background, just because I think for technical reasons, because a GIF
makes them lighter.
Yeah, well, a GIF will crushes everything down to 256 colors. So if you've got a full environment, that's taking up a lot of the colors that could go to the game. It
takes away, yeah.
So these are purely for like how to play reasons. So
yeah, great job, David.
Thanks. And like Noah did. I love like there's a good in this one. There's a good.
Okay, so how did you do that one?
Yeah, the highlight. It's all After
Effects. So
we're creating like a mat out of a piece or a drawing, and then projecting that.
I wanted to mention before when we looked at the same effect on the video, I think it's After Effects because the glow didn't spread to the other minis around it. And if you've done it in Blender, then the light actually affects everything around it.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the last one.
All right.
So I picked an older one that funded, I think, last year. I backed it. I'm waiting for it, but it's a great example of, at least with our tiers, it's like kind of our first 3D tier where it's just the 3D done on a white space, kind of like our GIFs, but we do the whole video like that. And I remember seeing this and I was like, that was beautifully done. And this is Shelfie Stacker.
I remember this.
Let's see if
I don't remember the video. I remember the campaign. It was a fun meta idea.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if we've got. Yeah, I'm not sure if they have who actually did the video.
Art direction. No.
I remember asking in the comments. I should have checked, and it was one of their team did it.
I've so many times joined live sessions where the creators are there for a new campaign that I really love the video of, and I asked the question, "Hey guys, amazing campaign, amazing video. Just wondering who did it." And during the live session, they just skipped my question. Oh. I'm like very frustrated.
Is it a secret?
I'm like, why is it a secret?
We were doing better than last week. Last week we had no hits on who made the video.
It's actually true. Yeah, cheers to that.
And here we have 2 out of 3. So hopefully it'll get better next time. Let's see it. Do volume. Oh, it's fine.
Oh, sorry.
Collecting games? Love sharing your shelfies? Well, now you can do both. Introducing Shelfie Stacker, a 1-4-player game that puts you against your friends to create the most insta-awesome shelfie by stacking your shiny new games into the most snappable selection in your custom shelves.
Cool.
You in your quest for shelfie stardom, let's introduce you to your band of stacking buddies. These usual suspects each have a special characteristic to help you stack your way to success. The game is played over 7 rounds with 8 characters in hand and begins with the arrival of your latest purchases from our, well, mostly reputable shipping companies. Each round, one player acts as the courier, filling each box with an assortment of guilt-free games for the group to choose. Each player then selects a stacking buddy from their hand. Then all reveal, with the lowest number going first to collect their gaming booty. Using cards that are in play, start stacking your games to build the best shelfie you can. You got one dice that just won't fit? Then suck it up and consign that game to the shelf of shame. Once you're done, it's time to reset for the round and go again. But wait, there's more. To ensure endless hours of in-depth play, each game comes with a combination of 3 terrific reward cards. Come the end of round 7, it's time to see who stacks up, tally the points, and then set the record straight to see whose Shelfie shines.
So good.
Wow.
Nice. I haven't
That
seen
was
this. How did I
so
Oh, you
miss
never
it?
saw that?
Good.
Oh man, it's one of my. We were talking about doing an episode with our favorites, and this is probably one of my favorites.
Wow.
I
Okay.
mean, yeah.
Off the
so much to talk
bat,
about.
the camera work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, the camera work, it just does it. It's so good. How do you do that?
Okay, I'm gonna say too. After I saw this, I created a brand new 3D camera in Maya for myself that incorporated like depth of field, and which I hadn't used in my previous videos, as well as a way to animate the focal length, because I just loved that effect, or you kind of punch in, punch out. It's a little shaky. You know, it feels like a more handheld approach, like a handheld camera, and the depth of field just depth of field is basically everything in the foreground is sharp, things in the background are fuzzier.
I'm sure you've noticed, but I love depth of field.
Yeah,
I use it all the time. But yeah, this
George.
camera movement is interesting. Ori, I don't know if you've seen this one tutorial of like you doing actually like you're in a video game. You can actually move the camera and then you can smooth it out. There's a bunch of tutorials on it. That's one way to achieve that movement, but then adding a little bit of a shake. But it's still smooth enough. But everything was smooth here. It wasn't just the camera, right? Like all the
animation is amazing.
all the way that the dice
The bag is so good. I had a game where I had to animate a bag, and I got lazy. I just like threw it away, and I just scaled it like from thick to thin. That's all I did. I had no time to actually get into cloth physics, even though I have touched that.
Well, that's expensive, right? Like when you're talking about, you know, you have a budget that you need to stick to, and doing R&D to get the cloth to move just right is sometimes a little
for one shot. Then it was a budget decision. It's something I definitely I want. There is also a flag there, and I wanted to put my energy into the flag because it was more prominent.
And can we just talk about the theme of the game? I had no idea this game existed, but
It's
I live this every day.
Yeah.
How did this do? Look at the campaign stats.
Oh, it did well. I mean, it funded pretty
It's
well.
a good theme. I really like the theme of the game.
No, it's right there. 1,700 backers. That's really good.
But where usually it says
it says under the blue button.
Here we go. There we go. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I backed this one right away, not only because of the theme, but again, it was a video that I was like, this is awesome.
And it looks like a good game. It looks like a good game.
I went straight to the comments. I was like, who did this video? It's amazing. It hits everything. And the rendering, I love it. It's so soft.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't look photorealistic. It doesn't need to. I love how the cards are like super thick. You know, which again isn't, unless they're actually cardboard in the game, but I don't think so. I think they're cards. But again, everything. The way the dice move is beautiful.
Yeah, the physics are top notch. It's like that shot, for example. You know, that's hand animated, but it's done in such a organic way. And when all the dice fly out, it's obviously I don't think they animated all of that. It's physics, but it's just right.
I mean, and it was a long shot, you know, to be able to make sure that you always get the perfect spot for the perfect die to be there. Like I thought that was
when you get it, you bake that shit.
Yeah.
Baking for anyone that, baking for anyone that's not familiar is basically taking a simulation where the program is trying to use math to like figure out what's going to happen and turning it into actual keyframes, meaning it's locked in as if you like animated it.
Are you talking about, George, when they kind of flip and return?
Well, just everywhere, like the way that they move. But I do have a funny story to add about when I started doing animated stuff. I didn't know how to end up with the right side. If I wanted to roll a specific side of die, I didn't realize that I could just go into edit mode in Blender and just rotate the actual geometry to the die, like the die results.
So you'd be literally rolling the die over and over.
Literally, like in real life, be rolling dice, let them drop different angles. I would slightly rotate them, run the thing
simulation?
again. Simulation. I eventually would get it, but can you imagine the chance? Like, it's like real life chances.
Yeah,
And
You're
there was
lucky.
one I had to get.
I hope it was a D6 and not like a D20 or something.
Well, there was one shot I needed 6 dice to do that, and it was
boy.
dreadful. Yeah,
You needed
and I
them
mean,
all to be on a specific side?
on a specific
And
thing.
you
So
did
I
it
would,
totally randomly.
so I would literally spend hours doing this, and I'm so grateful to have found that little trick. But anyway, these are the things that you go through when you're learning. Like I still feel like there's so much to learn, and it's such an exciting, place. And that's what I love having, like, you guys there too. We often ask each other these kind of questions, and I know, like, both of you have saved a lot of time for me, and I hope I've been able to give that advice back to you guys. But
yeah, definitely.
that's one of the great things about this. But yeah, this was great. I mean, I wish I could back it now. I would totally scroll. I would totally back this.
Yeah, definitely.
If I could now.
One last thing I want to praise for this video is the script. The script is excellent.
Yeah.
So
It made me
solid.
laugh so many times.
And it's
yeah.
funny, it's catchy, and it gets enough information about the game so you understand the experience of playing it. You don't understand the rules, but you understand what you're going to go through, and that's very good copywriting,
And
which is
something
very
that
hard.
something that struck me too is, like, so many Kickstarter videos. We all always base it on the theme, and a lot of themes are like fantasy and dark and serious. So we try and put that in the game. This one's so light and fun and airy, and that's what I took from this as well. I'm like, yeah, we can, So there's a few card games we've done videos for, and I tried to emulate that feeling of it's just fun. Like, it doesn't need to be serious. And
I would be actually following this company and seeing what they come up with next, because that's so good.
And again, if I could probably go through the comments and find my comment where they answered who the video creator was. I should have looked it up before. I just kind of remembered, like, oh yeah, I did comment and ask, because I was so impressed. So kudos to the video animator.
And thanks for bringing it to our attention, David.
No problem.
Well, that about wraps it up for today's episode. Thanks for watching, and if you would like to contact any of us, you can find all the information in the description below.
Nice. And you know what? We love hearing from you guys. So if you have any suggestions for videos you'd like us to react to, or topics you would like us to discuss, feel free to leave a comment.
And if you enjoyed what you saw and want to see more, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to get notified when we post new episodes. Until next time. Oh, we didn't. I forgot. I had to talk about that. We had to decide if we want like a catchphrase at the end.
Let's go for. We should ask the audience to come up with a catchphrase for us.
Yes.
I'm actually leaving this in. This is going to be part of the edit.
Okay,
guys.
Sure.
We need a cool catchphrase.
Yeah.
It's been nice and quiet this time because I need to go and pick up the kids now.
There you go.